Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Starseed Dragon channel. We are reviewing the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. It's a fantastic tarot deck, and I cannot wait to finish this review so I can shuffle this deck and do a personal reading for myself. This is a fabulous deck. I'm really enjoying it. I hope you are too. We are on the 4s. And it says, the 2s and 3s move you forward along your forest journey. The 4s halt your progress, and this is not always a bad thing. Creative action and work through conflicts both benefit from taking a break. A break in joy or generosity, on the other hand, can bring your progress to a dead stop. The 4 of Spells says, take time to celebrate. The 4 of Vision says, don't be a stick in the mud. The 4 of Challenges says, rest and soothe your spirit. The 4 of Boons says, greed stops the flow of abundance. I don't know why my voice keeps going in and out. And I apologize, but I have my hot coffee. So we will get through this. So we're going to start with the 4 of Spells. A party of flower sprites makes its way to the top of the fairy mound at twilight to join those already gathered there. It is their annual reunion when each woodland flower clan is represented and honored. Some other forest beings, namely the trolls, scorn such festivities, which in their eyes serve no practical purpose. But ritual is important, as is remembering to reconnect with what is most precious, gathering with friends and family, setting aside any quarrels or strife, benefits anyone. Fritillaria and Love in a Mist can resume their argument tomorrow. Tonight is just for dancing. This card says it's time to party, whether in recognition of a milestone such as a birthday or other rite of passage, an achievement that deserves to be honored, or just having made it through some hard times. Create a celebration that expresses the delight you have in living. Giving some structure to your merriment makes it more meaningful and memorable. Dressing as your favorite flower, for example. Meaning at a glance, a time of celebration, ritual, a rite of passage, recognition of family and community, a reunion. A closer look, the Fairy Mound is a popular event venue for all the wee folk of the forest. Reservations are recommended. Beautiful. 4 of Visions. A young man sits on the embankment above a forest pool. His attitude is sullen, dissatisfied, disinterested in life. He plodded out into the woods because he is bored with his day-to-day routine, but even in this magical place, he is still bored. He could be anywhere, on a city street or a barren desert. He can't see beyond his own gloom. There are wonders close at hand, but his cynicism and negativity blind him to them. Even the flashing brilliance of a kingfisher doesn't rouse him from his moody sulks. He has no idea what he wants. Have you forgotten where you left your bliss? Maybe you've been hoping for an emotional lottery win or an earth-shaking epiphany to awaken your enthusiasm. The truth is, lasting happiness is made up of small moments. It is just a matter of opening your eyes to the wonders around you. Agreed. Meaning at a glance, dissatisfaction, cynicism, ennui, and boredom. An ingrate's response to life. A closer look. This young man is ignoring rare woodland inhabitants as well as the kingfisher, cyclamen, herb paris, also known as true lover's knot, red helleborine, and the brimstone butterfly on his knee. My. 4 of challenges. The forbidding winter forest offers little in the way of comfort or relief. Thorns, icicles, and sharp frozen branches torment the weary traveler. Landmarks are few, footprints are quickly obscured by flurries. It can feel like you will never escape this fearsome wood. And then you come upon a miracle. In the midst of the gloom shines a green-leafed rowan tree in full berried fruit. Of all the trees in the enchanted forest, rowan offers the most powerful protection from both magical and earthly attacks. The earth around the tree is also green, providing a blessed place of sanctuary and repose. This card shows that there is an opportunity for you to find some peace, even if you still have challenges ahead. Getting out of the winter wood for one. Determine what sanctuary would look and feel like, and then insist on availing yourself of it. When you are in the midst of conflict, taking time out can often lead to greater clarity and a solution to the strife. There is nothing to be gained by pursuing the problem right now. Meaning at a glance. Gathering your inner resources and replenishing your spiritual strength, respite, sanctuary in times of trouble, a temporary peace. Closer look. Wanderers have tied scraps of cloth to the tree as grateful offerings for shelter provided to body and soul. That's gorgeous. Okay, next card. 4 of Boons. Trolls are very fond of money, though they have little opportunity to actually spend it. Their avaricious nature drives them to try many schemes for increasing their wealth. These troll wives have set up a pie stand along the forest path, offering toothsome temptations to hungry travelers. But as much as they covet the glint of silver, the troll wives can't bring themselves to actually give up any of their pies. They scold all their customers away and sit moodily among far more pies than even they could eat. When you run into the troll wives, it means someone is feeling overly attached to material possessions. Fear of scarcity distorts reality so that however much you have, it never seems like enough. This can lead to hoarding, literally or emotionally. Give up the greed to find peace of mind. Let someone else have some pie. There is plenty for all. Meaning at a glance. Greed, poverty consciousness, hoarding, fearful attachment to material possessions. A closer look. Today's pies are shrewberry, mock hedgehog, and deep dish mango wurzel. Deep dish mango wurzel. Okay. And then we go over to the 5s. After the pause of the 4s, the 5s get things moving again. In the Tales of the Forest, the 5s are the point at which the plot thickens. Your response will determine what happens next. The 5 of Spells says you must increase your skills. The 5 of Visions says you must face disappointment. The 5 of Challenges says you must choose your battles. The 5 of Boons says you must ask for help. Okay, so here we are. The 5 of Visions. Cursing her carelessness, a princess chases her precious golden ball down a forest path, watching helplessly as it splashes into a deep pool. Nearby, a smiling frog also watches. He knows that the story is about to change, for he is the frog prince, and the dropped ball is his ticket to bliss. It's hers too, though she doesn't know it yet. All she feels is disappointment at the loss of her toy. Excuse me. When she plops down on a damp rock in despair, the hero of the tale will take a froggy leap toward their future. Whatever your equivalent of the golden ball is, don't worry too much if you've lost sight of it. The really good stories take a darker turn before the happy ending. A temporary loss or unhappiness may lead to far greater gains in the long run. Your tale isn't nearly over yet. Meaning at a glance, a temporary disappointment, a pause in happiness, positive options remain. A closer look. Sometimes frogs are royalty put under a spell, but you have to take their word for it. All the frogs in the enchanted forest can talk, so don't let that fool you. Oh wait, that was 5 of Visions. Sorry, that was 5 of Visions, this one. Let me just go back a page. So sorry. 5 of Spells. A few students from the Woodland Wizarding School have come out to work on their transformation spells, and toady hilarity ensues. Though to us as onlookers the scene is humorous, these toad boys are deadly serious about their mock battle. They are learning their craft, exercising their powers, and refining their skills through camaraderie and competition. Each wants to be the best, and that spurs the others on to greater glory. These young wizards do know what they are doing in terms of the spell itself, but magic is still an effort at this stage. With patience, they will soon move on to more challenging sorcery. Makers of magic know they can reach new levels of achievement with a little healthy competition. The trick is to keep it light and friendly, not dissolve into a fight, which can be especially dangerous when wizardry is involved. Find ways to engage with your fellow wizards through playfulness and encouragement. Meaning at a glance, friendly competition, striving for excellence, healthy rivalry, learning from mistakes. A closer look. The wizard professors make the students work out their magical errors on their own, which means some young half-toads may have trouble holding their forks at dinner. Funny. Okay, so I already read this one by mistake. Sorry, 5 of Visions. And now we go on to 5 of Challenges. Yes, I'm on the right page now. So sorry. 5 of Challenges. When you come upon a giant, it is safe to assume that he is not interested in anything you have to say, so save your breath. For running. There are friendly giants, but they are rare in the general giant population, as are giants with a sense of humor. This giant isn't comical at all, nor is he a stereotypically stupid bumbler. He's dangerous not because he's evil, but because he's big. He also has a short temper, and he's giving you one chance to get out of his space before he deals with you. The giant signifies a situation in your life where you might be overestimating your chances against an opponent. Sometimes being quicker in an argument just doesn't work because the other will not or cannot engage in that way. Do not equate slowness with stupidity, and don't equate stupidity with harmlessness. Stay on the alert until you know who and what you are dealing with. Meaning at a glance. Overwhelming odds. A fight you can't win. Choose your battles and live to fight another day. A closer look. See the bones in his beard? Don't add yours to his collection. Yikes. Next card. 5 of Boons. 2 orphan brothers set out from their sad and desolate home to seek their fortune, and now they are lost in the winter forest. It is growing dark. They huddle together in the snow, wrapped in their father's old cloak. They have only one scrap of bread left. The lads have been suffering for so long, they no longer believe that anyone will help them. They are miserable and hopeless and resigned to their fate. But look, just behind them, enchanted strawberries rise from the snow, a long trail of them leading to a snug cottage with warm light streaming through the open door. You may think, who could miss something that as obvious as strawberries in the snow? But being beaten down and destitute makes it hard to recognize comfort when it is offered. That's true. Who knows how many miracles are overlooked? You may be missing one right now. Stop feeling sorry for yourself and look around. Meaning at a glance. Poverty, need, feeling excluded from comfort, misery, self-pity. A closer look. Finding strawberries in the snow is a task often given by spiteful storybook stepmothers. Magic fruit can only be found by those who are generous and kind. Interesting. And then we go over to the 6s. Hopefully I won't skip a page this time, right? 6s. The 5s shook things up, and now the 6s calm things down. Each 6 speaks of success, peace, or at least respite. As always, the suit determines what form these take: magical, emotional, strategic, or tangible. The 6 of Spells says, congratulations and well done. The 6 of Vision says, follow your bliss back to its beginnings. The 6 of Challenges says, retreat and regroup. The 6 of Boons says, tender care is at hand. Okay, 6 of Spells. Just take, oh, it's a little baby dragon. Or wyvern? Oh. We'll see. There's a new arrival in the forest. It's not easy to hatch a wyvern. Wyvern? But this intrepid wizard found an egg in an abandoned nest and brought it home to try. Generous doses of worry, magic, and love have yielded a successful hatching. Yay! Other wizards and witches have gathered to welcome the little one and congratulate their friend on a job well done. The new foster father's pleasure and pride in his accomplishment are made all the sweeter with praise from his peers. When people are secure in their own accomplishments, there is no jealousy or ill feeling when another has a glowing success, literally glowing in this case. Because the foster father knows this, he can accept congratulations as his due, with no false modesty or self-deprecation needed. Though you may never hatch a wyvern, be proud of your triumphs and drink in the praise. Meaning at a glance: success, justifiable pride in accomplishments, validation by others, a supportive environment where your talents can shine. A closer look: the hatchling soaks up the adoration and emits a tiny puff of happiness. Oh, so cute. They've got to be cousins of dragons, right? We're going to just go with that. Dragon cousins. 6 of Visions. Isn't she an adorable little girl? All in the golden afternoon, a child comes to her secret spot by the river, bringing her book and her imagination. She is absorbed, enchanted, blissfully lost in her beloved stories. She doesn't even notice the forest creatures and magical beings all around her, though it wouldn't surprise her to see they are real, for she believes in them fervently. These hours are the foundation of her lifetime's ideas about happiness. As long as she can find her way into the forest or lose herself in a book, she will always be the child with dreaming eyes of wonder. When we grow up, we're expected to put away childish things and settle down to take life seriously. But we are never too old to live an enchanted life. This card is a reminder that the child you once were is still part of you. What was magic then is still magic today. All you have to do is open your mind to it. Your old friends from books and your imagination are close at hand, waiting for you to come for a picnic by the river. Meaning at a glance. Memories of childhood, nostalgia, the way you were before cynicism or bitterness touched you. A closer look. Do you see the dragonfly? I do. It's a real dragonfly. Right there. Okay. 6 of challenges. Woo, that was a near escape. Far too close for comfort. Dwarves don't usually climb trees if they can help it, but this dwarf scaled the ash tree as nimbly as a squirrel when the wolves started chasing her. There's no need for her to plan what to do next, since she can't fight a pack of wolves. She needs to just wait them out. When they have lost interest in her, she can hurry home to a well-earned supper. When you are pursued by slavering wolves, the wisest course is to get out of their reach as quickly as possible. This card suggests that you should consider such a strategic retreat, perhaps an actual retreat away from home or work for a time. Give yourself a respite from strife. Rest, recover, and plan your next step. Meaning at a glance. Retreat, deliverance from a dangerous situation, waiting for danger to pass, a chance to regroup. A closer look. Wolves in the mundane world aren't menacing, but these are old world storybook wolves, notoriously big and bad, and they will eat you up. Those storybook wolves. Next up. 6 of Boons. Something made this woman run from her home, something fearful enough to send her fleeing into the frosty forest in her bare feet. In her panic, she has lost her way, and a light snow is obliterating any trace of her tortuous footprints. There is no way to go back, even if she wanted to, and no path forward that she can see. The night is drawing in, not knowing if she will wake again, and not caring very much either. She curls up on the cold earth and surrenders to exhaustion and despair. A quiet patter of paws on snow sifts into her dreams, and soft warmth surrounds her. Seeing her dire need, a colony of rabbits blankets her with love. There will still be trials to overcome when she awakes, but she will make it through the night. There is kindness to be found even in the bleakest situation. The world is full of gentle, furry creatures with big eyes who want to help and comfort you. Be ready to receive unexpected assistance and selfless care. Your situation is about to get softer. Meaning at a glance. Help graciously offered and gratefully accepted. Generosity, benevolence, caritas. A closer look. Rabbits have a reputation for shyness, but they will overcome it when necessary. That is true. I used to have bunnies. Next, we're going to go to the 7s. And he says, sevens. Now that you're all rested up from the sixes, the sevens present you with some problems to solve. Each seven holds a predicament and a choice to take action or not yet. The seven of spells says, stand your ground. The seven of vision says, distill your desires. The seven of challenges says, there is danger afoot. The seven of boons says, your options are increasing. So here we are with the seven of spells and our beautiful wyvern. Our friend the young wyvern is growing fast, no longer a hatchling. He is able to go out at night by himself, and tonight he's been ambushed by a mob of torch-wielding gnomes. Gnomes are earth elementals, which means they can get a bit stuck in their ways and in their attitudes. Things that are familiar or different seem threatening to them. The gnomes want to upset the wyvern and frighten it into leaving their forest. The wyvern is in a position of advantage above the gnomes, but he can't easily flee. He isn't breathing fire at the moment, but he could and he might. The situation does not bode well. The gnomes represent lesser forces that may be rallied against you. Don't stoop to their level and do not return fire. There's a very good chance that their ideas are misinformed. Wait for tempers to cool, then find common ground and work toward peace. Meaning at a glance, holding your own under attack. Trivial problems add up. Misunderstandings, defensiveness. A closer look. As you can see, there is not much diversity among the gnomes, which is one reason they are suspicious of non-gnomes. Interesting. Next card. Seven of Visions. Carefully descending the Weatherstone stairs, glittering with dew, you approach the stone fountain at the bottom of the grotto. Your trials in the forest have made you doubt your course, and you seek guidance from the ancient gazing bull. At first, you can see only your reflection on the dark surface, but as you breathe upon the water, images begin to appear, fragments of visions swirling and shifting. The gazing bull is telling you that many futures are possible, but nothing has settled yet. This card is also an abomination against escaping into delusion. Your lack of direction may be the result of preferring fantasy to reality. If seeking divinatory guidance only makes you more confused, stop asking for now. Badgering the oracle will only muddy the waters. If you ask too many questions, you will get too many answers. Meaning at a glance. Confusion, a riddle with no answer. Wait for clarity. Do not act yet. A closer look. All of the visions in the gazing bowl are things that you've seen in the forest. Can you find them in other cards? Absolutely. Absolutely we can. Next card. Seven of Challenges. Those sneaky foxes. The travelers, having had their supper and s'mored the fire, are cozily tucked into their bardo for the night. They came far into the deep forest so they'd have no fear of intruders. It will be good to get a peaceful night's sleep. The scenario is exactly what this skulk of foxes loves best. The pleasure of stealing enhanced by the pleasure of making fools of unwary innocents. They step lightly through the clearing, slyly confident in their sneaky skills. These are foxes of the enchanted forest, and the things they steal are not the things normal foxes would take, such as food or livestock. You never know what one of these foxes is going to want, whether they can actually use it or not. When these vulpine bandits appear in a reading, something is going on behind your back. Someone is trying to get away with something by cheating or outright theft. It may be in an arena where you feel you are safe, so you've relaxed your vigilance. Or perhaps you are the one whose actions don't bear close scrutiny. Have you violated your own ethical values? Meaning at a glance. Sneakiness, secrets, strategy, using your wits to get what you want, a lapse of ethics. A closer look. The fox with the teacup has been looking for this china pattern ever since he stole its matching saucer. Silly foxes. These are beautiful cards. These are just absolutely gorgeous cards. Okay, here we go. 7 of Boons. In the enchanted forest, there is always a door when you need one, eventually. The forest decides when your need is great enough to warrant a portal, and then sometimes it gives you more than one. The next stage of your journey is determined by the door you choose, so take your time. Don't rush through the first door that appears before you. Remember, this is a magical place, and things are not always as they seem. Sit down and observe the scene for a while to judge its permanence. You don't want to step through a door into nothingness. This card is about patience as much as it's about choice. As you may have noticed, the suit of Boons doesn't go in much for speed or impetuosity. It's about practical responses to practical problems, even in the realm of enchantment. If you don't know what to do yet, don't do anything. Simple as that. Remember, once you choose a door, all the other doors disappear. Meaning at a glance, patience, timelessness, waiting for obvious directions, recognizing the best option. A closer look. Each door bears a different symbol, placed there by magic. Which one calls to you? Gorgeous. And then we go over to the 8s. The 8s represent limitations, interference, a hard task, or a difficult life lesson. Often the card doesn't show an actual problem. Rather, it shows ways you might react to the problem. Each of the 8s shows a response to obstacles. The 8 of Spells says, act swiftly. The 8 of Visions says, awaken from illusion. The 8 of Challenges says, think, don't struggle. The 8 of Boons says, persevere to attain mastery. So here we are with the 8 of Spells, beautiful owls. A parliament of owls incoming, zooming through the forest with sureness of purpose. They carry messages of magical portent. Some travel at the bidding of the enchanter himself, but anyone can ask an owl to carry a message. The owl will decide if it wants to or not. If you have been sent an owl before and didn't heed its message, you may be left to your own devices from then on. Owls do not carry trivial missives. Crows are happy to do that. So when you see an owl headed your way, straighten up and prepare to receive it with respect. The appearance of the owls in the reading signifies news is on its way. It also means that energy is increasing for any endeavor to which you apply your full will and intention. Things are speeding up and moving toward a positive conclusion or reward. Watch the skies. Meaning at a glance. News and incoming messages. Swiftness, aiming toward a goal. A closer look. This parliament has 2 tawny owls, 1 little owl, 1 short-eared owl, and 2 barn owls. The formal name for the short-eared owl is Oceophlamius, which is also how you summon an owl. Oceophlamus. Interesting. Oceophlamus. Next card. 8 of Visions. Under the weeping willows runs a sluggish, vaporous stream. Here, ghostly race of women who died for love drift in a mesmeric dance. Each is in her own world of sadness and self-pity. They may not be aware of each other, or if they are, they don't care. They are, however, aware of you. They pluck at your sleeve and implore you with their watery eyes to join them in their sorrow. These woeful spirits have no free will anymore, but you do. You can escape their lost and empty fate, though perhaps not on your own. This card speaks of depression and disenchantment with life. Expressive grief is much healthier than quietly retreating into a world that denies all joy as well. It can be hard to begin again when your spirits are so low. Don't surround yourself with pessimistic companions. Seek wise guidance from those who have found their way out of the murk. Meaning at a glance, withdrawn from life, extended solitude, the dangers of depression, being swamped by grief. A closer look. If you stray into a greenish mist swirling close to the ground, run away with all possible speed. This mist never lifts, and it has a narcotic effect. That card makes me sad. Poor ladies. Next card, 8 of Challenges. A woman is surrounded by vicious thorns that suddenly grow and engulf her. She has scratches and there is blood on her clothes, but she is not badly wounded as yet. The scratches and tears in her garments are from her initial frenzied struggle to get free of the trap. She doesn't know which way to turn. Every obvious direction is dangerous. She knows she can't stay there and be destroyed by the magical thorns. With no ability to think things through, she falls into denial, refusing to look at the situation or find a solution to her entrapment. This card signifies a situation that should not be endured, but you may find it hard to imagine anything better. Panicking and flailing around will only do more damage. Use your head to analyze the challenge and overcome it. There is a way out. It is time to open your eyes, let go of denial, and banish the idea that you are a helpless victim. Meaning at a glance, feeling trapped, denial, passivity, victimization, lack of direction. A closer look. The magical thorns appear in several other challenge cards. Some in unexpected places. See how many you can find. We'll do that another time. Next card. 8 of Boons. The task of magically spinning nettles into gold was daunting at first. All stings and tangles, working against all sense to make something precious out of something so ordinary. Patiently, moving at the speed of learning, she threaded her spindles, running the fibers through her sensitive fingers as she spun. In time, she could see progress of her skill. A snarled and fuzzy spindle where a gleam of gold was faintly seen. She is intent upon her task, and her confidence grows with each filled spindle. It takes time to become an adept, and magical skills are no easier to master than mundane ones. Practice leads to improvement, but dedication leads to excellence. Whatever your work is in the world, do it to the very best of your ability, and then some. Push past your comfort zone, but don't lose sight of the moment in striving toward an outcome. The learning process itself brings its own delights. Meaning at a glance, mastering a craft, meticulous work, increasing excellence, passionate pursuits are their own reward. A closer look. The tiny bird is a gold crest. It is very happy to have golden threads to weave into its nest. Beautiful. Here we go with the 9s. Although the 10s are technically the final cards in the minor arcana, the 9s are really where things wrap up. The 9s are the culminating cards for each suit, the most empowered, the most desirous, the most fearful, the most contented. The 9 of spells says, my magic can't be defeated. The 9 of visions says, my wish will come true. The 9 of challenges says, there are terrors everywhere. The 9 of boons says, I have everything I need. Okay, let me just have a sip of my coffee. Okay, 9 of spells. Witches have no fear of the nighttime forest. That doesn't mean there is nothing fearful there. Wild beasts and creatures, both earthly and unearthly, roam the woods at night. Nevertheless, this witch has come to her sacred spot to perform a spell at the dark of the moon. Shining eyes and vague shapes move in the shadows. Maybe they are harmless, maybe not. They could even be other witches intent on menacing her. It wouldn't be the first time. She draws a protective circle of light around herself, which keeps any dangers at bay. Within this warding circle, she can summon all her powers to take command of the situation. This card signifies that you have everything you need to accomplish your intention. You have the skills, the experience, the maturity, and most important of all, the will to make it happen. No one can stand in the way of your success now. Mark out your territory. It's time to bring forth your full potential of power. Meaning at a glance, mastery of inner gifts, mature power, defense against the dark. A closer look. The witch doesn't need a wand or any other tool to cast her circle. Her magic is within her. Gorgeous. Next card. 9 of Visions. In an overgrown glade lie the ruins of a stone cottage, abandoned who knows how long ago. 100 years? 500 perhaps? No one has come here in all that time to disturb its peace. The ruins shelter an ancient well, furred with moss and ringed with fringed gentians. You can smell the fresh water below, fed from a spring far older than the well. Take a coin from your pocket and clasp it to your heart with a fervent wish. Wait for the water to become still. See if you can spot the well keeper in its depths. When you are ready, when you believe, make your wish. This is the wishing card, and it signifies that your wish will come true. As is often the case with forest enchantment, there's a catch. The wish must be true. You must want it, visualize it, and believe it is yours. Frivolous wishes can bring undesired results, and half-hearted wishes are ignored by the magic well. Take your time and decide what you want. Don't waste your wish. Meaning at a glance, circumstances aligned in your favor. faith in a positive outcome, wish fulfillment, good fortune. A closer look. There's another way to make a wish here. Can you see it? Beautiful. Nine of Challenges. Whoa, this is a really animated card. Nine of Challenges. Lost in the wood, a boy tucks himself as tightly as he can among some tree roots and prays he will be safe until morning. Everything he sees and hears is terrifying to him. He can't discern between what is a real threat and what is merely unfamiliar. The shining eyes, the creeping feet, the tiny cries. Oh, he should not have come to the woods at night. There is nothing to be done now but wait for daylight. The hours until then crawl by as he trembles helplessly in his inadequate refuge. This card isn't really about danger. It's about fear. It's about the middle of the night terrors, when you are helpless to do anything but worry. At such vulnerable times, your fears can start to multiply faster than you can swat them away. The scariest thing in the night forest is the inability to move safely, not knowing what is nearby. You may be feeling fearful because you are unprepared and ill-equipped to handle your challenges. Face reality during the day so you don't need to flee from it at night. Meaning at a glance. Fear, nightmare, helplessness, the dark night of the soul. A closer look. There are 9 fears shown in the card. Bats, shining eyes, a looming tree being, a spooky moth, glistening ink cap mushrooms, which are poisonous, woody nightshade, very poisonous, a goblin, a devil's coach horse beetle, and an alarmingly large spider. There is also a mouse, squeaky but harmless. Squeaky but harmless. Okay, here we go. 9 of Boons. Tiny things live in the forest. Be careful where you step, and look sideways for glimpses of movement. You might spy something like this charming little nook inside a tree stump where a brownie has made her home. Brownies are sociable as a rule, but this tiny lady finds her happiness in living alone. While town brownies are known for making themselves useful in human homes in exchange for offerings of milk and porridge, this brownie prefers to tend her own house to preserve her independence. So she moved to the forest away from gossip and curiosity and unwanted suitors. Here she can have everything just so, with no interference. Her companion is a hummingbird, hawk moth, with whom she shares a love of periwinkles and sweet berries. This card is about home as sanctuary, the place where you gather your strength. Some of your most contented moments are when you are alone in your own nest. There are sacrifices in choosing to be solitary, and loneliness can be the price paid for freedom. It takes a strong character to find a healthy balance between solitude and society. Meaning at a glance. Independence, happiness in solitude, domestic prosperity, taking care of yourself. A closer look. Brownies are very fond of brooms. Leave a tiny broom in a corner of your home if you want their help, or leave one in the woods for a forest brownie. Beautiful. Okay, now we're going to go on to the 10s, and the 10s, it says 10s. The 10s take the culminating energies of the nines and turn them up one more notch, for better or worse. Empowerment becomes burnout, and fears become a terrible reality. Conversely, wishing leads to bliss, and contentment is enhanced by community. The Ten of Spells says the magic is squandered. The Ten of Visions says the dream is fulfilled. The Ten of Challenges says the quest has failed. The Ten of Boons says welcome home. So here we are on 10 of Spells. In the bleak pre-dawn light, 7 sister princesses make their way home after a night of dancing in the forest. While only one night has passed, while only one night has passed in the mortal world, it felt like many nights in the fairy realm where they were ensorcelled. They danced until they could dance no more, yet still they danced on, caught in the merciless spell until the night was spent. Now the sisters are utterly depleted, almost in shock. All they care about now is finding their own beds, except for the youngest. She tries to turn back, reaching out in longing. But her sister holds her fast and forces her forward. Everyone's body language speaks of profound exhaustion and regret. The enchantment is broken. This card signifies that your energies have been stretched far beyond their limits. The thing that gave you the most pleasure has become a burden. Your fire has burned out. Find your way back to safety and reevaluate your intentions before venturing out again. Meaning at a glance: exhaustion, burnout, disenchantment, regret in hindsight, burdens too big to bear alone. A closer look: the sisters' loosened hair symbolizes wantonness and reckless abandon. Yes, it does. Okay. Next is the 10 of Visions. The melody of a gentle brook cascading into a pool draws you toward a moonlit glade, where you come upon a breathtaking sight: a family of star-dappled unicorns. Gorgeous. The parents and their little one rest peaceably upon the velvet green, canopied by apple and cherry blossoms. A group of unicorns is known collectively as a blessing. The blessing of unicorns is not about worldly success or material well-being, but rather about soul fulfillment and bliss. There is an element of immortality in this card. It is joy that is timeless, eternal. No matter what happens, it is a spiritual touchstone. This card offers a vision of familial happiness, which can, of course, be any combination of people, not just 2 parents and a child. What matters is a commitment to each other in unity and harmony. If that doesn't seem to apply to your question, think about what would bring you lasting bliss. The unicorns offer their magic to help you realize your most beautiful visions. Meaning at a glance: true bliss, gratitude for blessings, a close and happy family, soulful joy. A closer look: there aren't many unicorns in the forest of enchantment. Dappled unicorns like these are even rarer. They can only be seen when the moon is full. Interesting. Next card. 10 of Challenges. Let me just, I don't know why these keep moving. Here we go. 10 of Challenges. An aged knight sits weeping, his faithful steed at his side. He is racked by despair and defeat. Many long years he had quested in this forest, pursuing a mythical beast who became his life's obsession. Along the way, he fought bravely with countless other knights, never shirking in service to causes of righteousness and nobility. But relentless time has claimed him at last. All the fight has left him, and the beast has not been seen for a very long time. The old knight's sword and helm are battered and rusted. His quest is over. Perhaps it was mad to begin with. When this knight appears to you, take it as a message that it's time to face reality, cut your losses, and decide where to go from here. In a way, it can be a relief. This is as bad as it gets. You don't need to fight anymore or pursue an impossible dream. You get to lay down your sword and walk away. You can't win, but you are also done losing. Meaning at a glance: defeat, surrender, ruin, the death of a dream. Give up and move on. A closer look. The knight's helm bears a feather from the white raven, but that ally has flown. Interesting. Next up is the 10 of Boons. Well, this looks like a happy card. The forest seems endless. You've been walking all day and into the evening. Hungry, tired, discouraged, you push yourself just a bit further, hoping to find some shelter from the night air. And then you hear music? Yes, and laughter, the sweetest sound a lonely wanderer ever heard. Following it, you come to a gathering hall filled with light and warmth and friendly faces. You are welcomed as kin by forest folk, for whom hospitality is second nature. Food and drink are put before you, and you are invited to tell your tale. Your heart fills with grateful relief. You found more than a night's shelter. You found your tribe. Community is a basic human need, one that we've sadly gotten away from in these modern times. This card says that your tribe, your clan, your kin awaits your arrival. Or perhaps you are the welcoming one, and the gathering hall is right where you are. As the last of the boons cards, the 10 reminds you that the greatest boon of all is like-minded fellows who stand by you in good times and bad. Meaning at a glance: a warm welcome, community, hospitality, kindred and extended family. A closer look: that huge Irish wolfhound is not supposed to be under the table. Be ready to catch hold of the dishes if he decides to stand up. Adorable. Okay, next up, forest folk. So I'm assuming that these would be the equivalent of pages, knights, queens, and kings. Forest folk, people cards. Traditionally, each suit in the minor arcana has 4 court cards with names like page, knight, queen, and king. These are usually seen as a hierarchy, each card more powerful than the one before it, with the king on top. This deck tosses out the royal court and the hierarchy and renames these cards as child, seeker, weaver, and keeper, respectively. Okay. Child. The child cards represent a youthful approach to the world. There is a bounce-back quality to the child, an ability to learn life's lessons more readily than older folk, who have a harder time getting back up if they fall. Children are changing all the time rather than being set in their ways, and they tend to get into predicaments more than the other people cards. Some are careless, some foolhardy, and some are just curious. Child cards signify anyone who exemplifies these qualities regardless of age, a young person or a person who is young at heart. Okay, here we go. Child of Spells. The Child of Spells has marched boldly into the forest to try out his homemade magic staff. He wants to be a wizard, but he isn't very interested in putting in the study time. In his mind, he is ready right now, planting his feet firmly and focusing energy through the staff as he's seen real wizards do. He attempts to magically transform a rabbit. The rabbit isn't worried at all. If this card does not represent a particular person, it can mean an audacious attempt, a well-meaning mistake, or childlike enthusiasm for a project or plan. Character traits: playful, enthusiastic, curious, brave, a risk taker, funny and waggish, doesn't give up easily, learns by trial and error. Shadow traits: naughtiness, bravado, acts before he thinks, won't accept responsibility for his actions, unreliable, easily distracted. Next up, Child of Visions. The Child of Visions has been abandoned in the forest. The woods look scary and forbidding to us, but not to her. Everything she sees is viewed through a rosy filter of delight. Her world holds only beauty and goodness, no matter the situation. Her trusting nature expects everyone to be a friend and every story to end with happily ever after. Her emotions are near the surface, and when her tears do fall, they pass as quickly as a summer storm. Oh, look how the raindrops sparkle like diamonds on that spider's web. If this card does not represent a particular person, it can mean a time of increasing harmony, a gift of beauty, or a quarrel forgiven. Character traits: gentle, emotionally sensitive, appreciation for beauty, wonder, innocence, Pollyanna optimism. Shadow traits: naive, emotionally vulnerable, unrealistic, oversensitive, easily fooled. There is potential for great disappointment. Okay, next card. Child of Challenges. The Child of Challenges is lost in the woods. She doesn't waste time berating herself or others for this predicament, nor does she indulge in tears or panic. She takes a deep breath, finds a dry place to sit, and considers her options. She knows that 5 minutes spent thinking things through are far better than 5 minutes of running wildly in all directions. She remains calm and alert, mentally retracing her steps. If this card does not represent a particular person, it can mean the approach of a more difficult time and a need to plan and prepare. Character traits: cleverness, quickness of mind, ability to focus, love of learning, fondness for study, good in an emergency, honest. Shadow traits: a tendency to overthink and obsess, argumentative, very argumentative, always knows best, sets impossible standards for herself, can be tactless. Okay. Next up, Child of Boons. The lost and hungry Child of Boons can't believe his luck when he comes upon a house made of gingerbread. There doesn't seem to to be anyone around to forbid him, but still he hesitates before breaking off a piece. He tries to remember what he's been taught about the proper procedure for magic cottages. The practical thing would seem to the practical thing would seem to be to stay alive while awaiting rescue. So, does that mean eat or not eat? If this card does not represent a particular person, it can mean a time of study, an impetuous investment, or a sign that it is time to pay more attention to material security and prosperity. Character traits: considerate, cautious, obedient, and well-mannered. Quiet, bashful, wants to help but must be supervised. Shadow traits: inexperience in earthly practicalities. Can't manage money, expects others to care for him, doesn't always tell the truth. Okay. Seekers. Seekers enter the forest of enchantment on their own initiative. No one has chased them there or abandoned them, as may have happened with the child cards. Each has a quest to fulfill, and the quality of action is common to all four seekers. Their individual traits are more distinct than the children's, who are more nebulous and mutable. By the time someone becomes a seeker, their personality is fairly settled, but they are still learning and evolving. Their faults can be overcome. The Seeker of Spells. The Seeker of Spells has come to the woods in secret to find a flower that only blooms on this one night. As a witch, she has no fear of the nocturnal forest. Indeed, the danger only makes her quest more thrilling. Her daring has paid off, and she arrives at the precise moment of the blossom's unfurling. That, too, is thrilling. To run the risk of missing the moment and losing the magic. Playing it safe is for those with no witch blood in their veins. If this card doesn't represent a particular person, it can mean creative exploration, trusting your instincts in terms of timing, breaking through a stale routine, or spontaneous travel without a great deal of planning. Character traits: bold, spirited, dramatic, venturesome, fearless, passionate in her pursuits. Shadow traits: impulsive, would rather apologize than ask permission, easily bored, headstrong, and willful. Beautiful flower. Okay. I think I'm missing a page here. Hold on just a second. Okay, there we go. All right, Seeker of Visions. The Seeker of Visions returns every day to this forest lake where once he caught sight of a woman more beautiful than his most beautiful dreams. From that moment on, his heart was enthralled. Dazzled by sunlight on the water and confused by mist that rose as if by magic, it seemed to him that she transformed herself into a fish and disappeared below the surface of the lake. He plays his harp and sings with the voice of an angel, hoping to lure her back, hoping for one more glimpse of the glimmering girl who captured his imagination. If this card doesn't represent a particular person, it can mean unrequited love, a sense of spiritual purpose, or a desire for a more artistic life. Character traits: idealistic, romantic, visionary, poetic, gallant, follows his heart, Prince Charming. Shadow traits: a seducer, doesn't commit in relationships, unrealistic understanding of love, prone to flights of coaxic fantasy, not grounded in reality. Next up, the Seeker of Challenges. An enormous knight stands immovably on the forest path. the white raven blazoned on his shield, and the iron feathers on his back on his black armor declare him to be the seeker of challenges. His helm conceals his face, but the sword in his hand and the readiness of his stance speak of menace. His war horse dances with impatience at a safe distance from the proposed battle. The seeker of challenges is not going to let you pass. He is spoiling for a fight, determined to find trouble or make it himself. If this card does not represent a particular person, it could indicate a situation that has reached an impasse, a breakdown in diplomacy, or a movement towards war. Character traits: aggressive, forceful, skilled at confrontation, sharp-witted, sardonic, loyal in the material loyal in the martial sense, can't be bribed. Shadow traits: quarrelsome, ruthless in the attainment of his goals, belligerent, hot-tempered, attacks with no warning, must win at all costs. Dangerous is what I say. Okay, next up, Seeker of Boons. The Seeker of Boons has set out on a treasure hunt to a part of the forest where rumor has it precious gemstones can be found. She takes her time, searching carefully and methodically. Her quests are well planned, and she always wears her trusty belt of tools and good stout boots. The ground here is thick with gnarled roots, so she needs to move slowly, but that's what she likes best anyway. If this card doesn't represent a particular person, it can mean a need to slow down and pay attention to details, lest you miss something important. It can also offer reassurance that even though a desired outcome hasn't arrived yet, you're on the right track. Character traits: good humor, steadiness, dependability, practical and patient, earthy, adventurous in a modest way. Shadow traits: a worrier, takes on too much, hard to roust out of habits, can be a bit plodding. Okay, then we go over to weavers. So these would be the queens, right? The 4 weavers represent different aspects of feminine energy and power. They are the initiating spark, the muse, the catalyst, the push out the door that leads to glory. Weavers can bring forth positive qualities in others, whether through nurturing or by the judicious application of tough love. They are all witches, each a maker of magic in her own way. Unlike the Child and Seeker cards, the weavers are full-time forest dwellers and represent a more mature understanding of its enchantments. Okay. Alrighty. Weaver of Spells. The Weaver of Spells summons her power from within and directs it toward her purpose. Magic rises from her body and swirls all around her. She is the fairy lover, the muse, the creative force, the catalyst for change. She is the embodiment of the magical flower the seeker of spells sought out, the full power of the true sorceress. She casts her glamour around her, and you are bewitched. If this card doesn't represent a particular person, it can mean a time of great creative joy where the vital energies of life burst forth and are expressed in ways that benefit others. Character traits: passionate, confident, bold, charismatic, a sparkling sense of humor, sexual and seductive. Shadow traits: jealousy, fiery temper, impatience, meddling as an outlet for thwarted creative purpose. Okay. Make sure that's in there. Okay, we're almost done. Weaver of Visions. The Weaver of Visions is a shape-shifting enchantress, and the sacred lake is her place of magical transformation. The water surface is a boundary line between the worlds, a threshold where she crosses from one state of being to the other. The Weaver is most herself in the watery realms, though she can sometimes be seen among the trees if you look quickly enough. Whether as a woman or as the leaping salmon, she acts on instinct, surrendering without question to the yearnings of her heart. She is the elusive one, the glimmering girl. She is love at first sight. She is poetry. If this card does not represent a particular person, it can mean a solution that comes through imagination and intuition rather than logic or analysis. Listen to your heart and trust its guidance. Character traits: dreamy, intuitive, psychic, empathic, emotionally sensitive, graceful, subtle, a bit mysterious, devotes herself to those she deeply loves. Shadow traits: changeable, moody, hypersensitive, hard to read, passive, plays the victim, overwhelmed by the emotions and needs of others, tends toward depression. Beautiful. Ooh. Lovely. Look at that one. Feeling a little bit of Narnia coming on. Weaver of Challenges. The Weaver of Challenges makes your quest harder. Not necessarily from malice, though. Don't rule that out. More likely it is for your own growth or to prove your worth. She sets a puzzle or task that requires your wit and intelligence rather than brute force, like the wall of magical thorns she raises to block your way. The White Raven is her closest advisor, offering her the kind of detached objectivity she appreciates. She speaks her mind and provides needed clarity, often saying things others fear to say. She is fearless. If this card does not represent a particular person, it can signify a cynicism about personal relationships, a barrier being raised against you, or a time when uncomfortable truths need to be spoken. Character traits: intelligent, sharp, quick-witted, cool, discerning, witty, powerful, very powerful, brilliant, shrewd, attention to detail, self-esteem, discipline. Shadow traits: cold, emotionally withdrawn, overly critical, sarcastic, touchy, unhappiness disguised as aloofness, and bitter grief. Okay, let's not go on the shadow side of that card. It's a little much. Next up, a Weaver of Boons. The Weaver of Boons knows just what you need. When you visit her cottage in the forest clearing, the aura of peace and plenty embraces you. This witch's magic is earth-centered, the virtues of plants, the secrets of stones, bird and animal lore, the dance of the seasons. She treasures both the wildness of the woods and the beauty of her well-tended garden. She is the preserver, nurturer, and healer, feeding both body and spirit with motherly love. If this card does not represent a particular person, it can indicate the need for some common sense, an offering of comfort and care, or a monetary windfall. Character traits: earthy sensuality, a merry nature, motherly, a generous heart grounded in practicality, protective of family and community. Shadow traits: smothering, takes too much upon herself, judges other people's lifestyles, insists that she knows best, and she probably does. Aww. Next up are the keepers, and I think that might be it, is the keepers, right? Yep. Okay, keeper. The 4 keepers represent different aspects of masculine energy and power. They are the exemplars of their suits, often acting as teachers or guides. Keepers are protective, wise, experienced, and in command. They are all wizards, each a master in his sphere of expertise. Like the weavers, the keepers dwell within the forest and represent a more mature understanding of its enchantments. Ooh. The Keeper of Spells. The Keeper of Spells blasts through obstacles with an elf wizard enchantment that is transformational and activating. His familiar is a fire drake, which embodies the blazing force of his passionate will. He summons it forth from his own center. The Keeper of Spells has no need for external tools of magic. Seek him out when you are ready to change your world. If this card doesn't represent a particular person, it can mean a time of powerful advancement for an endeavor or a movement. Embolden others in creative and positive ways. Character traits: confident, charismatic, passionate, sexy, a natural leader, motivates by example and exuberance, virile, dramatic. Shadow traits: hot-tempered, vain, egocentric, arrogant, doesn't like to share his toys, ignores the rules, autocratic. Okay then. Keeper of Visions. The Keeper of Visions is a shape-shifting wizard whose Piscean aspect embodies ancient salmon wisdom. Legend has it that the salmon is the oldest of all creatures and has memories reaching back to the beginning of the world. In fish form, his cooler emotions allow for compassionate detachment. On land, his kind heart can overflow into grief at the world's cruelty. On the whole, he prefers to observe events from a distance rather than getting directly involved. His motto is "Look below the surface." Seek him out when you need counsel on mystical matters. If this card doesn't represent a particular person, it can mean a time of withdrawing from emotional turmoil and seeking peace. The situation may benefit from meditation. Character traits: contemplative rather than active, calm, wise, compassionate, not easily flustered, charitable, emotionally stable, faithful in love. Shadow traits: too emotionally detached, neutral to a fault, moody, avoids conflicts and confrontations, puts the hard emotional duties on others. Okay. Keeper of Challenges. The Keeper of Challenges is not evil, but he's not good either. This wizard is coolly neutral. When he gives you a challenge, he wants you to use your intelligence and figure it out. Keep your wits about you. The biggest challenge may be just to face him, to approach and ask for his help and guidance. If you are going to argue with him, have your facts in order. His is a cold nature in general, even when he is being fair. He won't cut you any slack. Seek him when you are in need of a push to the next stage of your journey. If this card does not represent a particular person, it can mean a need for cool and detached strategizing in challenging times. If you must do battle for a cause, assemble your allies and calming calmly determine how to proceed. Use your wits before you take action. Character traits: shrewd, sagacious, perceptive, commanding, stern, discerning, holds high standards, expects excellence. Shadow traits: cold anger, merciless judgment, authoritarian, does not share power well, pushes too hard, expects perfection, does not spoon feed. Okay then. Some tough love right there. Okay. And I believe this is our last card. It is our last card. Okay. Keeper of Boons. Well, isn't he happy? While the Keeper of Challenges wants you to solve your own problem, the Keeper of Boons will solve it with you, or more likely for you. This wizard's magical energy is protective, gathering, sheltering. He will rescue you from the scary forest, feed you, tuck you in, kiss you goodnight, and see you on your way in the morning, all calmly and with a sense of humor. He is also a master of crystal lore and all manner of earthly treasures. He puts these to good use, making magical tools and jewels attuned to the user's needs. Seek him out when you need some fatherly support. If this card doesn't represent a particular person, it could signify that material help is at hand, as well as practical advice that should be heeded. This may be a good time to ask for a loan or a raise. Character traits: values home, history, tradition, and family. Warm, jolly, lusty, and generous. Knows what you need most and how to get it. Shadow traits: overbearing, bulldozes through objections, takes charge unasked, judges how you spend your money. Well, that's fatherly, isn't it? Okay, and that is it. That's our deck. Oh my goodness, this is such a beautiful deck. They do also have some spreads in the back, and then there's a space for notes. This is a beautiful book. There's quite a few things that I didn't read, but hey, you know, if this really spoke to you, then I highly recommend it. It was great. It was a great read. It was a great deck to go through. The imagery is beautiful, and it comes in this beautiful case here. If this is a deck that you would like to have for yourself, which I highly recommend, I tell you what, then there is an affiliate link in the description box below that will take you right to the place where I got this, and you can get one for yourself. Beautiful, beautiful deck. I really enjoyed this. I hope you did too. Other than that, let me know if you enjoyed this in the comment section below. If there's another deck out there that you would like for me to review like this, I'd be happy to do it, but I'm not a mind reader, so put it in the comment section below, and I'll see what I could do about getting it. Other than that, have a great day, and I'll see you on our next video.